All right, Rangers, transfers, exits, and big money moves. It's all kicking off at Rangers. Then from the next potential Ibrox hero, Josh Mulligan, to a defensive talent we've got our sights on, and even a whopping £10 million on the table for Hamza Igman. Yes, you heard that right. But that's not all. Ryan Kent, Kieran Dal, and a £2.5 million powerhouse all feature in the latest headlines. Deals that could reshape the squad, departures that'll raise eyebrows, and moves that might not happen for one frustrating reason. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know exactly what's brewing at Rangers. Let's dive in. Right then, here's the crack. Derek Ferguson's been singing the praises of young Josh Mulligan, hasn't he? Says he's got what it takes to slot right into our Rangers squad. And honestly, after watching him at Rangers in November, you've got to think Derek's onto something. Mulligan was the lad pulling the strings for Dundee, making things happen while the rest of his team were probably thinking about their post-match pies. Derek didn't stop there either. He reckons Mulligan's teammate Lyle Cameron should be on our radar as well. He'd take the pair of them in a heartbeat. Andy Halliday's chimed in too, urging us to get a pre-contract deal sorted for both of them before their Dundee contracts run out at the end of the season. Seems like the stars are aligning for this one, doesn't it? Now, Mulligan's got that versatility we could do with. Stick him at wing-back, and he's charging up and down the pitch like he's auditioning for a place in our history books. He's not just filling a position, he's driving the team forward, turning defense into attack. A proper grafter, this lad. And let's not forget, he's already bagged a couple of league titles, one with Cove Rangers and another with Dundee. The boy knows how to win. With his contract expiring, we've got a golden chance to nab him without shelling out silly money. It's a bit of no-brainer, really. Mulligan's only 22, but he's showing all the signs of a player who can handle the pressure at Rangers. He could become a fan favorite, especially since we've had our fair share of stick for not bringing in enough homegrown talent. Imagine the buzz around Rangers if we brought in Mulligan and Cameron, proper Scottish lads giving their all for the badge. Now, whether or not Rangers actually go for it is another story. We've flirted with these pre-contract deals before, but this feels like the one to pull the trigger on. A couple of Scottish talents like this, it's exactly what we need to freshen things up and keep us moving forward. Let's hope the gaffer and the board are paying attention, eh? Rangers are sniffing around this young Colombian lad, Kevin Mantilla, a defender from Talleres. Word is we've had a wee chat about bringing him to Rangers, and if the price is right, his club's happy to let him go. But here's the catch. There's a queue of other clubs with their eyes on him, so if we're going to make a move, it's got to be quick. Typical, eh? Always a race to the finish with these things. Now, Mantilla's just 21, but don't let the age fool you. He's no mug, played 17 games last year, racking up over 1,200 minutes across all competitions, and he's a Colombia under-20 international to boot. He's already helped his country to the semi-finals of the CONMEBOL under-20 tournament and the quarter-finals of the World Cup. At that level, a proper talent, this one. And let's face it, we're desperate for reinforcements at the back. Philippe Clement's got his work cut out, trying to salvage what's left of the season. 13 points behind that lot in the league. It's not pretty reading, is it? Robin Proper hasn't exactly set the world alight since he came in. And if we're going to patch up the defense, Mantilla could be just what we need. But here's the kicker. It's not just us that's been asking about him. Talleres' president has mentioned Liverpool and Brighton having a nosy at him in the past. So if we pull this off, it'll be a proper coup. Imagine Rangers nabbing a young South American star right from under the noses of Premier League clubs. Now, that would be a statement, wouldn't it? Let's hope the board are feeling ambitious. We could do with a bit of that swagger back at Rangers, and Mantilla might just bring it. Right, let's talk about Hamza Igman, shall we? Seems like the lad's not just catching the eye, he's turning heads faster than a last-minute winner at Rangers. Keith Jackson reckons we won't see him in a Rangers shirt next season, and honestly, he might be right. If he puts on another show against Manchester United in the Europa League, we'll have scouts crawling all over Ibrox like it's a Black Friday sale. Now, the numbers being thrown about are eye-watering. Jackson says if we get a check for £10 million in the summer, after shelling out just £1.5 million to bring him in, the board might not be able to resist. I mean, that's proper business, isn't it? But at the same time, you can't help but wonder if we're letting go of a potential star too soon. It's a tricky one. When we signed him from ASFAR in Morocco, nobody really knew what we were getting. He was a bit of a punt, wasn't he? Early doors, Philippe Clement didn't even give him a proper look-in. Cyril Désert was still leading the line, even if he couldn't hit a barn door some weeks. But when Clement finally gave Igman a chance, he grabbed it with both hands. 9 goals in his last 10 Premiership matches. That's not just good, that's give him the keys to the city good. He was at it again the other night against Aberdeen, getting on the score sheet as we strolled to a 3-0 win and solidified second place. The fans love him, and why wouldn't they? He's the kind of striker we've been crying out for, clinical, hard-working, and not afraid of the big moments. Now, here's the dilemma. Top clubs are going to come knocking in the summer. It's almost inevitable. And sure, £10 million is a tidy sum, but what if we're selling him just as he's about to become our main man? Imagine what he could do for us next season with a proper run and a bit more experience under his belt. Could he be the one to fire us back to glory? So there it is. Sell him for a big profit or keep him and build the future around him. Either way, it's a big decision for Rangers, and it could shape the seasons to come. Let's just hope we get it right. Kieran Dal, the signing that promised much, but delivered about as much as a takeaway that forgets your chips. According to Chris Jack, the midfielder's time at Rangers is all but over, with a move back to an English club on the cards this month. And honestly, after the way things have gone, can you blame anyone for wanting to call it quits? Dal came in with a bit of optimism, didn't he? Free transfer, so no big financial gamble. But even then, it's been a dud. Injury woes, patchy form, and never quite looking like the player we needed. He's one of those signings where you think, what was the point? Like buying a fancy blender and realizing you only ever wanted to make toast. Michael Beale, bless him, was the one who brought Dowell in. Clearly saw something there, but let's not beat about the bush. Beale's own stint at Rangers didn't exactly scream recruitment genius, did it? Dowell's struggles just feel like another chapter in the tale of a manager who didn't get it right. And now, Philippe Clement's come in, taken one look, and decided Dowell's not part of the plan. Fair enough, really. The squad's got to move forward, and if Dowell's not pulling his weight, it's better for all involved to cut ties and move on. No hard feelings, but let's be honest, nobody's crying into their pints over this one. So it looks like the January window will see him head south of the border. Probably best for everyone. Dowell gets a fresh start, and Rangers can focus on players who might actually make a difference. Cheers, Kieran, but it's time to move on. Oh, Ryan Kent, eh? The rumor mill's been churning out stories about a possible Rangers reunion, but let's be honest, this one's got more red flags than a dodgy penalty decision. Apparently, there's a bit of chatter about him struggling to pass a medical if he comes back, and you can't say it's a shocker, can you? He's hardly kicked a ball this season, so fitness and match sharpness, probably somewhere in the bin. Now, some doctor, Dr. Rajpal Brar, to be precise, reckons his lack of game time could lead to issues if Rangers do take the plunge. Makes sense, doesn't it? If a player's been gathering dust on the bench or struggling with injuries, there's always a risk they'll show up half-cooked. Rangers would need to check every nook and cranny to make sure he's not a walking sick note. But let's call this what it is, a daft idea. Sure, Kent had his moments when he was with us. We all remember those flashes of brilliance, terrifying defenders and getting the crowd roaring. But since leaving Rangers, his career's been as flat as a post-match pint that's sat too long. Whatever magic he had, it's not there anymore. And let's not forget what we actually need right now: a striker, not another wide player who'll spend most of his time trying to find his old form. Kent coming back would feel more like a nostalgia trip than a proper solution. We're better off putting the money and energy into fresh talent who can make a real difference. So thanks for the memories, Ryan, but it's time to keep moving forward. This one's best left in the what-if pile. The Marco Soldo saga. Yet another chapter in the never-ending tale of Rangers and the transfer that wasn't. Apparently, we've been offered the chance to sign this Croatian midfield dynamo, but at £2 million, it's looking like a deal too far for the board right now. Financial gymnastics at Ibrox strikes again, eh? Let's not pretend Soldo wouldn't be a cracking addition. He's 21, physically imposing, and versatile enough to play anywhere in the middle of the park. Croatian outlets even call him extremely powerful. That's the kind of description that gets you dreaming about a midfield general bossing it in Glasgow. But here's the kicker. Philippe Clement's got his hands tied unless he shifts some of the deadwood first. Looking at you, Cyril Dessers. Soldo's club, NK Osijek, seem happy to do business if the price is right, but the lad himself isn't in a rush. He's made it clear he's enjoying his time in Osijek, working hard, and not really itching for a move just yet. Fair play to him, but it doesn't exactly help our case, does it? Meanwhile, Rangers' list of targets is shrinking faster than a Scottish pie on match day. Leon Belkar's staying put at NK Varazdin, and Kani Chukwuemeka's apparently off to Borussia Dortmund. It's like watching your shopping list get shorter while your wallet stays just as empty. Lyle Cameron from Dundee might be the most realistic option at this point, but even that's likely to be a pre-contract job for the summer. At the end of the day, Soldo might be one to revisit later, assuming we can scrape together the cash and clear out a few spare parts. For now, it's another what could have been story. Honestly, you've got to laugh or you'll end up crying into your bovril. If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.